Hey, and welcome to Doom 2 Entryway, Map 1. What's that? You don't recognize this? Well, this is actually the beta version of this level. So this is from around July 1994, about 6 months before the release of the game itself. And we'll take down these imps here. None of these consoles here actually do anything, so there's nothing too much to do in this room. You don't get a chainsaw in this version of the level, which actually makes the level a lot more difficult. So you can see we come in at a slightly different angle here. The textures on the walls here are very different. It's very weird to me that there's lights in the corner there. And the other big difference is that there are spectres in this level. Now, I'm playing on ultraviolence here, but I think that not giving the player a chainsaw and then sticking a bunch of pinkies into the level is a bit mean, but hey ho, that's just my opinion. So we're going to take down this pinky here. You can see that the texturing is still some way off the final incarnation. There's a lot of different interpretations of like these rooms here. They're all slightly different in different ways, and it's interesting to see. This secret's still here, but now the switch is actually over there, which I don't understand. I think it's a bit silly, but I guess like they wanted you to hit the switch in the first room to unlock the secret fully, which I don't know if that's really worth it, but hey. So we come outside here and you'll immediately notice this isn't the grass textures that you're normally used to. It's actually white rock mostly, which is certainly a choice. It's a lot busier, this with the pinkies in the level. I have to say, like, the pinkies really do kind of unbalance this whole map. Because as you can see, I'm pretty much out of ammo here, and I really don't want to be using all my ammo up. So I'm going to try and punch this imp here. But yes, this room looks very different. There's just a different feel to it, and I don't actually like it, so... Oh, a pinky in the exit as well, gosh. You see the misaligned exit texture there. You have to remember that this is the beta version of this level, so this was some months out before they'd released the final version of this. This room as well has a very different feel to it because of the texture used on the wall. I don't think they even use this texture in the final Doom 2 game. I think that ends up being an Ultimate Doom texture, so it's probably just there as a placeholder. But you can see this level goes through a lot of texture changes. Layout wise, apart from the beginning, which I don't like that new beginning, by the way, the original beginning. I think it's very weak compared to the one that we get in the final game, which we'll dive into in a second, but you could tell that the overall level had formed. They just hadn't quite worked out what it was going to look like, and they probably didn't have the final textures ready to go, so it's an interesting glance at what could have been, but to be honest, I do not like that opening room. It was kind of messy and a bit ugly. Now, let's talk about the retail release of Doom 2. See, for my money, this is a lot better, because you can run straight ahead and get into the level, or turn around, go outside and grab the chainsaw. Now, for me, Entryway is not quite as iconic as Hangar, and I think that comes down to the fact that this is a very kind of flat level until you get into that room, into the room around the corner here. I'm not such a fan of these like narrow corridors here, but as a multiplayer map, this is really, really fun. Like one of the better ones in Doom 2. And I think this is definitely like a very strong opening for Doom 2. Considering that some of the levels are a bit more uneven, I'd argue, in Doom 2. But as you can see, like I just love the aesthetic of this area so much more than what they were shooting for in the beta. I think making it more like a gravelly kind of brown, I think it just makes it feel more moody and more... We'll take this backwards. It just works better, I think, and I prefer this area as well. This all just feels... It just feels neater and tidier, to be honest. They really kind of made this level pop with some of these textures. These are like... There's a reason that Hangar is held up very much in the same breath as some of the better Doom levels, because it's a great level. And the fact is, most of the layout didn't need to change. I also found it interesting that you could hit those switches in the wrong order and still activate the one that fell into the floor because of the limitations of the Doom engine. I prefer the grass, and I think it just makes it feel more like you're on Earth rather than on the moon or something like that, because the white rock kind of gave off moon vibes, to be honest. But yes, overall, yeah, I think the changes between the beta and this version are very, very much appreciated. I think that they nailed it out the park with Entryway. Very strong opening level, and I think that it's very much designed to invite new players in, while at the same time giving veterans like a taste of what's going to be different in this one. I like the fact that they didn't throw any pinkies in. I think the pinkies were just kind of overkill in the beta, but that's just my opinion. Now, we're going to take a look at a third version of this level, which means we're going to be diving over to the PS1 version of Entryway now. I think one thing that Entryway really does nail is that opening imagery of the stairs with the enemies looking away from you. I think that's just so iconic, and I think that while it's not kind of up there with the hangars of Doom, it's definitely one of those silhouettes that sticks with this game. Now you can see the lighting here is very different. In fact, we have no lights on the wall in this one. So we've gone from really oddly placed lights on the wall to the normal placed lights to no lights at all. The obvious advantage that PS1 Doom has is that it can throw coloured lighting in, and it really adds to like the dark vibes of Doom 2 a lot better. Also, PS1 Doom lets you have 2% health bonuses, which in my opinion should have been the way all the time, but that's a discussion for another video. As you can see, this is pretty much a copy of the original Doom 2 Entryway. I don't think that they didn't really go out of their way to change much in terms of like texture work in this level, which I think is the right call. I think there's no reason to sort of change things if they work. And oh, I didn't run. Yeah, I keep forgetting you got to run if you want to get on top of that. But as you can see, by and large, this is very much the same experience. You're not really kind of getting a watered down experience here. You even get the rocket secret, which is nice. Again, I am a big fan of the coloured lighting in PlayStation Doom, so for me it kind of only adds to the aesthetic that these games go for. I also love the music on this level. Like, I feel like at times Doom 2's music is great, but I think that I kind of lean towards Ultimate Doom's music overall, and I think the PS1 Doom soundtrack is very atmospheric. I think it very much adds a different kind of spin to these levels. So you can see outside again, we're back on the grass aesthetic, and although we've got like grey brick now for the building, which is fun, I think it's very hard to be overly critical of this level because I think the core level design is just that strong. Entryway is a very well designed level, great for multiplayer, and as a first footing into Doom 2, it really does what it needs to do. I don't think it's as good as Hangar. I think Hangar is just a better level, and I think it's one of the best Doom levels ever created, but I think that Entryway definitely is a very strong first step into Doom 2, and as you can see from the beta level, like, they did cut out some parts that probably would have brought the level down a bit, so we should be grateful for that. Which of these versions of the level are your favourites? Let me know in the comments.